Shiva is the hardest non-DLC enemy in the entire game. Level 96, a really strong super boss, much stronger than any other enemy that you've probably faced at this point in the game if you've gotten this far, and it's definitely a fight you want to be prepared for. I was level 93 at the time of doing this fight. You at least want to be within 10 levels of him if you want to plan to challenge him at all, because this game does have level penalties, and if you are lower level than that, you are just going to get absolutely destroyed. So if you watched my fusion video yesterday, my Eden and Yoshitsune are the powerful ones you saw in that video yesterday that I used a lot of fusion bonuses and level up bonuses to get as strong as they are. And Vishnu is my fourth demon here, or fourth party member here, that I crafted because I thought it was thematically fitting. He's pretty strong as well. I got some good fusion bonuses on him. And the first turn is just mostly going to be about setup. I use Armor Pierce with my main character here to lower his defense. Debilitate will lower the defense down to minimum and his attack a little bit. Eden uses Golden Apple even though there's nothing to heal yet, just to increase our stats some. So the annoying thing about this dude is that he's got this move that can lower our defense to the minimum. That's why it's really important to keep his attack lowered to the minimum as well, otherwise he could do a lot of really hurtful damage to us. Luckily, every time I heal with Eden, which is going to be the majority of the time, not only will we get that heal, that nearly 400 heal there, we're also going to get a defense buff on top of that, and it's also going to keep our attack and evasion buff as much as possible, which can also be very clutch in this fight. So the general strategy here is use Murakumo as much as I can, get the crits as much as I can with the main guy. Eden's going to be using Golden Apple and Zanbarian if she has a chance to. Yoshitsune is going to be spamming the Impaler Haso Tobi move, and Vishnu's going to be using Debilitate and Donam Gladi on the main character here to get as much damage as possible with that. In this case, I just used a charge gem because I needed to have Vishnu do something else. I don't really care about the fog or mirage on Vishnu because he's not going to be attacking during this turn anyway, so I go ahead and activate the critical up effect here to make sure we always get the critical hits, because Murakumo does massive damage if you have charge and the guaranteed crit, and all the buffs, 7,000. As you can see right there, that's a pretty massive number. Eden is once again going to heal. I'm going to throw out another Hasatobi just because I need the guaranteed press turn there, so even though it wasn't the absolute strongest one I could have done there, it's good to get that extra press turn. So now I use, I probably use Donam Gladi on the main character, I believe. I'm thinking about what to do though, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like I gotta go with Donam Gladi. And now we can get another really powerful Murakumo. That one was nearly 6,000 there. Not bad at all. And since I don't need to heal at this point in time with Eden, I can use a pretty powerful Zanbarian, which is over 2k there. No concentrate on that, unfortunately, but still not a big deal. I'm going to go ahead and use the Impaler charge for Yoshitsune. Since he crits any turn no matter what, it's not really like vitally important that he gets the damage this turn. So with the Impaler, he always is going to crit even against weaknesses and all that kind of stuff, so that's really important to keep on there, especially since a lot of these enemies have physical resistance. Okay, when you see the giant snake, you need to get rid of him as soon as possible. This thing can use Media Haran, and that'll heal Shiva back to full, so any progress you make as far as damage to Shiva will just be, like, ruined if that happens. So it's very important that you get rid of that thing as soon as possible. I think, unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it this turn. Or maybe I was. Maybe it was the second one that I was unable to, but luckily he doesn't use Media Haran, regardless. I recast Debilitate just to make sure we get that, that debuff on him at all times, because we cannot risk him getting too strong. So go ahead and Murakumo the snake. It's really important that he dies. That would be really detrimental if he wasn't dead. The Hades Blast, that was really good for us, thankfully. Sexy Dance is not good for us, though, because it charmed the absolute wrong person. And then the Reflect on the Light there. It's pretty helpful. But I just decided to go for the 50-50 play because I like being risky. It didn't end up working out, so I just lose that turn, which is unfortunate, but not the biggest deal in the world. I am able to get rid of Parvati and the other demon in this turn, though. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you're not using Yoshitsune, it's actually better to leave, like, one of the enemies alive, just because I don't think he'll summon more reinforcements in that case. But if you're using Yoshitsune like me, because you brought him all the way to level 93, then you're going to have to deal with the randomness of that attack at times. Regardless, though, I still think it's worth it, because I think that move is really good, especially with the Impaler buff. So our defense is lowered to the minimum again. He's calling more allies, and he calls another snake. Really unfortunate, so we gotta get rid of that. Luckily, the charm did not affect me that time. It would have been really bad if it did. Eden uses Golden Apple again, gets us a nice heal. It's worth noting I have Enduring Soul on everyone, so even if anyone's brought down to 1 HP, it's not really the biggest deal. They'll get right back to full health. And I also have the Witted Goat in the inventory, so my main character actually has like 3 lives he can work with here. So that's pretty nice. I decide I have to use Debilitate here just to make sure I can get rid of this important debuff here. Yeah, I think this is it. I don't think I get enough damage with Murakumo. Or no, I did. Okay. Maybe I'm thinking about a different fight. Well, we get rid of the most important enemy, so Shiva can't get a heal out of that, so that's really good. I go ahead and use the extra Zanbarian to get rid of one of the other enemies. So that just leaves it with Shiva himself, and this guy. And unfortunately, he uses Critical Wave, so Shiva doesn't get a second turn, so that's nice. Although it does use Eden's Enduring Soul there, so that could be a little dangerous. I just use a Murakumo there. I unfortunately don't get the random crit, even though I have Murder Disc early, but not the biggest deal in the world. I go ahead and use that Golden Apple again, just because I realize I'm going to have to give her Soma soon anyway before the next turn. And I get Yoshitsune's Impaler out. And I decide to play it safe here and give a Soma to Eden, because having the MP is extremely important in this fight. She has over 700 already, but even then that can be a problem if you're using Golden Apple as much as I was doing. And that's with Great Mana Spring as well, so definitely have a lot of MP for this fight. I think I only had to use like 2 Somas by the end of it, thankfully, but still, can be dangerous. Alright, even though we just activated Magatsuhi, I decided to go for the risky play here, or somewhat risky here. I get over 3k with that. It was not a charge bonus, unfortunately, but I do get over 3k with that move there. So Tobi's going to do a pretty strong amount, does a lot to Shiva there, and gets rid of the other add-on he has. So he's going to waste a turn next turn, summoning more allies, so we don't have to worry about him getting way too many attacks next turn. Donum Gladi on main character, get it over 6,000 Murakumo. I use Zanbarian because I need to get back down to Vishnu so we can use Debilitate, because it's really important that we get that move off. Because we do not want his attack being too high. So he uses Megadolian here, and he doesn't actually lower the defense like I expected him to. He uses Impalers here, and then he uses an electric move, so... That actually does kill Eden, unfortunately. The Impaler made it so I think it goes through her electric immunity. So this is kind of the, now the dangerous part of the fight, in a sense, because I was not expecting Eden to just die there. And I had to use some Enduring Souls as well, so that was definitely a pretty dangerous turn for me. But I really need Eden, so I'm just going to throw the Balm of Life on her and make sure we can get ourselves back up to a good situation in this fight. So I use Hasatobi. The fortunate thing is he didn't summon reinforcements last turn, so I get the full damage from that on him, so that's a pretty significant chunk right there. And now I use Pass because I gotta get Eden back out so she can heal. So I need that last press turn on her. So yeah, another Golden Apple usage. This is kind of the general strategy here. It's just, Murakumo is basically carrying me so far. It's worth noting I have Almighty and High Almighty Pleroma on my main character here. So that's why it can hurt so much. Alright, so he summons more add-ons here. He summons the snake again, which is, unfortunate. Maybe this is the part where I was worried about it. Him healing, I don't remember. This fight was pretty long. It was like 14 minutes. Although, according to YouTube, most people that do this fight on hard mode take even longer than that. So, that's pretty interesting. I didn't think it was that bad, but, you know. It is something that definitely requires preparation. Was able to get rid of the snake again there thanks to Yoshitsune. I'm thinking about using an item here, it looks like. So I just go for the normal attack on Parvati because Parvati also has a chance to heal, not nearly as much as the snake enemy from my experience with this. But someone said Parvati could heal, so I just played it safe there. Megadolian ends up hurting a bit. Sexy Dance ends up getting Yoshitsune this time, which is unfortunate. And then they begin gathering Magatsuhi again, so next turn could be another really dangerous turn. But I like playing risky, so I go for my own Magatsuhi turn here, just to try to get as much damage as we can here. Murakumo on Shiva. No charge, but I still did nearly 4k. Golden Apple to heal everyone up. Yoshitsune, I'm just hoping that I win the 50-50, and I end up doing it, so that's really nice. Don't be like me and go for these risky plays. That's just how I play games. Nearly 6k with that. He's in red health now. So we're almost at the end of this fight at this point. So despite being in a somewhat dangerous situation, we're at a decent spot where we can almost kill him. So I just decide, okay, I'm going to get this move out. I'm going to get Yoshitsune's Impaler out so we can try to finish him off in the next turn or so. And I'm ready to end this at this point. I know I can do it. And looks like I go for the Elect Dampener because I'm just taking a risk and banking that he might use a certain move type. Or I change it up to Fizz Dampener. Okay. Alright, well I'm doing something here. And he uses a fire move. You never know. You never know. Fortunately, Eden's immune to fire, so he still only got one turn anyway. Vishnu ends up dying though, but that's not the biggest deal in the world at this health range. He's already done his job. He's got Debilitate on Shiva. So at this point I swap in Tao. Because Tao also has Enduring Soul, so even though she's level 70, is going to get one shot, she can at least get one turn of usefulness out. And she also has Donum Gladi, which I can use on my main character, so that's the thought process behind this. Yoshitsune recovers from his ailment, and he's able to get a decent chunk of damage here with Hasatobi again. Gets rid of the add-on again. And now we're almost there. Okay, she uses Debilitate. I also have Donum Gladi on her, though. So at this point, I'm fully healed. I've got high defense, so even if he lures me to the minimum next turn, I should be able to still finish him off. And I just barely don't get enough Magatsuhi gauge here, so I think what I end up doing is using an Ice Gem, just to make sure I can get it, and that allows me to get the extra push I need for the Magatsuhi turn to finish him off. I believe that's how it went anyway. I somehow selected Ice Shard, and then I was like, no, this is a terrible idea. And then I go to the Ice Gem. So Shiva's actually weak to ice. We haven't used any ice attacks the entire time, but you know, that is an option if you've got that. And now I activate the Magatsuhi effect critical. And I'm just going in for the kill here. I think I just straight up used damage with Eden because I'm like, okay, I just need to finish the fight now. And I wasn't really worried about anything else. And it should be pretty guaranteed at this point anyway. Like, I think Donum Gladi should be enough to finish it off, but I do charge up Yoshitsune just in case. But the crit Murakumo with Donum Gladi I think does enough. Yes, it does. So over 6,000 damage, or almost 6,000 damage there, and enough to finish off this fight. Pretty challenging and interesting fight. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a nice change after some of the more difficult fights, or less difficult fights before this point in the game. So I enjoyed having to strategize again. I'm looking forward to the DLC Superboss as well. I'll probably post a video on that once I get to it, since I just bought the DLC recently. I did not have the DLC when I played this. If you do have the DLC when you play this, you can make this much easier, but, you know, I like being authentic and trying to have as much challenge as possible. But yeah, overall nice fight. Hopefully this video gives a couple tips and showcases how to approach this fight, maybe. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. And once again, thank you all for watching. Look forward to my next videos, and have a wonderful and blessed day.